Mr. Fash.
Hi, Honorable Senators. Thank you for having me. My name is Scott Fash. I'm the Chief Executive Officer for BILD Alberta. I'm also a registered professional planner and a member of the Canadian Institute of Planners. I join you today from Edmonton, located on Treaty 6 territory, a traditional gathering place for diverse Indigenous peoples, including the Cree, Blackfoot, Métis, Nakota Sioux, Iroquois, Dene, Ojibwe, and Inuit. So BILD stands for the Building Industry and Land Development Association of Alberta. We represent approximately 1,300 member companies involved in home building, land development, renovation trades, and everything in between. Our members will likely heavily be engaged in the substantial rebuild efforts required in the months to come. I was with the organization during the Fort McMurray rebuilds, so I did get to see kind of some of the challenges that all levels of government faced from the outside. And I would say first and foremost, it's critical that all levels of government get information to residents on how to vet and contract builders. In both the Slave Lake and Fort McMurray fires, unfortunately, fraud was all too common. You would get individuals who would promise to rebuild your home for a fraction of the cost, only to take people's deposits and disappear. Thankfully, now there's a more robust licensing regime in place for Alberta, both on the builder side and the contractor side, along with other tools that residents can use. And we're happy to support all levels of government in kind of preparing some information for residents. For the rebuild itself, we anticipate the logistical challenges associated with this to dwarf really anything that we've seen before, probably in Canada, but specifically in Alberta. Jasper's remote location means that the majority of builders, developers, trades, suppliers, and materials are all going to be coming from Edmonton or likely Grand Prairie, probably some from Calgary and Red Deer as well. But it's a 4+ hour drive away. For any individual home that's going to get built, you typically require upwards of 100 individuals to be involved in the construction of it. So logistics are going to be critical for any effort to have a timely and cost-effective rebuild. So in doing that, it's going to be really important to plan and schedule trades to arrive and undertake work on multiple job sites concurrently. For example, with proper scheduling, crew pouring foundations could travel to Jasper with their materials, with their equipment, stay in temporary housing and work for 1 to 2 weeks, pouring 10 to 20 foundations during that time, versus traveling for a day or two and only pouring 1 to 2 foundations at significantly higher cost. That same approach then needs to get replicated dozens and dozens of times across multiple trades for this rebuild to be done, as I said, in a timely, cost-effective way. If we get delays in approvals, delays in inspections, coordinating these construction schedules gets difficult, if not altogether impossible. So we think Bill C-76 represents an important step in addressing one of the key barriers to that rebuild, and that's moving towards a more simplified and flexible regulatory and approval framework. That's going to be critical to support the coordination of trades, suppliers, and the overall construction schedules I previously mentioned. How these requirements are developed in the subsequent months are going to be crucial in determining, one, which companies will be interested or able to offer their services in the rebuild, two, how quickly the approvals of construction can occur, and three, how expensive it's going to be. At a high level, we think it's going to be really important to simplify the zoning in the affected areas. I think through my quick review, there's currently 7 residential zones. Provide greater flexibility for the number of secondary suites permitted on individual properties. Determine whether additional density will be permitted as part of the redevelopment, including larger building footprints. Review the 100+ pages of architectural requirements and either simplify them or identify a different approach. To build anything with speed and scale, the town will need to work directly with a group of builders and developers, I think, to determine some high-level character, design, and potential material elements that are both cost-effective and replicable. I think as the CAO mentioned, over 800 housing units need to get rebuilt. They cannot all be custom built, so we have to figure out a balance that's going to preserve and build upon the town's character while allowing for quick construction. I think the choice to implement the Alberta edition of the National Building Code is also going to be important, as it will enable more Alberta builders, trades, and suppliers to participate. Just as importantly, this increases the pool of safety codes officers who will be available to undertake inspections. This will also allow groups like BILD Alberta, the Government of Alberta, and other not-for-profits to support everybody involved through code implementation if there are clarifications or variances required. So we're likely in the most important stage of the rebuild from a construction perspective, despite it being several months or more before we actually start pouring foundations. But if we set up the right framework from a policy and a regulatory standpoint, over the longer term, you're going to be enabling quicker approvals, more cost-effective construction, and an overall faster rebuild.